Jacob, I'm so excited to have you on the show. We're talking about a topic, Facebook ad strategy that honestly I don't know a ton about. So you're gonna have to help me out with some of my questions and kind of lead me along the way. But before we jump right in, take me back to the beginning. How did you end up in this niche area of social media ad advertising for attorneys?
Yeah, sure. So for my whole life, my dad started a business when I was younger. He started in 1975 in Denmark, where I grew up. That was called Quickwood, doing woodworking machinery. And I'd done that business for 20 years at the time. When I moved to Florida, it was 2009. And all of a sudden, the good Lord provided me with an opportunity to help people as the BP oil spill happened in April of 2010. And I simply got so pissed that BP took a dump on my beach that I started becoming an advocate. I started helping my neighbors and see what I could do for them. And then I started making a blog of all things just to get my thoughts out that was called BP-Claim. And there came a following of 750,000 people in 6 months to what they should be doing. And after 6 months, all the lawyers came running and was like, "Oh, we do need you. What can you do for us?" And I was like, "No, my people are not going to lawyers in New York or Wisconsin or whatever they came from." So I ended up making a deal with Brent Kuhn to advertise on my site. He's in Texas. He had just finished up the Texas City explosion. And he was a great fit for me, very blue collar, understood the working man's problem, which was what I was advocating for. And all of a sudden, I just came into this lawyer circle from being a dumb woodworker, so to speak. I don't mean it like that, but it was kind of an industry where it was the same over and over. And helping people really gave me a purpose, and that's how I started it.
That's incredible that it was really about doing the right thing and how you wanted to be a voice in something that you saw was a big issue. I think so many people just kind of shut their eyes or don't do anything or maybe take the minimal approach. So that's really interesting and first of all, I applaud you for that. That's awesome to hear. And Jacob, our audience is it's mostly personal injury attorneys. So, just the super high level, why should personal injury attorneys have a Facebook ad strategy?
Well, as what you will find out, I'm very honest about everything because for me, it's about spending the money right so I can help as many people as possible. That was my mission. It's not to help the lawyers, but the more people I can help, okay, that helps the lawyers, good for them, but I'm in it to help the people, right? So for personal injury lawyers, Facebook is only the right strategy as a retargeting tool. People has already come and shown interest on your website, and maybe out of 100 people that come to a lawyer's website, maybe two converts into a phone call or lead form. So the right strategy is then retargeting them on Facebook everywhere they go after that. After that initial, I have an interest, well, now we retarget them, try to make them come back with free consultation. We help so-and-so and all that. It's very important for both lawyers and entrepreneurs to understand that the one key element in my story with the BP oil spill is this. Don't ask what somebody can do for you. Provide value to another person, and that value will come 10 times back to you. Not that you're looking for it to come back, but it's just how the universe works. If you help other people, you will be helped and rewarded for it. And that's the lesson I learned through the BP oil spill. And many people can learn that lesson today.
I love that. I've heard a lot of successful entrepreneurs, they give without expecting anything in return. You were doing this and then you have this company you create. Now you're helping other individuals and you probably never even thought that it would exist when you first started out on this journey.
That's correct. Facebook in 2010 wasn't even born yet. I think it got born in 12, right? And So it's just a thing of personal injury lawyers could help locally in their community, right? And once they go out and show they care about the community that they are part of and they give back, all the business they get from that as a reward is what I'm talking about here.
Absolutely. And I wanted to kind of to get a couple clarifying questions from you. So are you saying, when if we think of people call this in many different labels, we had Ed Herman on it. He called about brand love. Some people call it know, like, trust. Some people call it top of funnel, middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel. There's all these different names to talk about this journey. So just to get kind of clarity here, are you saying that it's probably not an awareness, a top of funnel play for personal injury attorneys? It's more, after there's already an awareness, then you're retargeting more in the middle and the bottom. Just so I'm hearing you right.
Yeah. So remember, I'm not a digital marketer first, right? So all these terms and all this branding and all this stuff that people talk about, I've seen millions, literally millions of leads, right? And all this about, oh, I'm the biggest law firm and I get all this branding and all that. It's not wrong if you spend millions and millions of dollars branding your name that people will remember it. But what is wrong is this: people are only looking for somebody to help them. They don't give much shit about what law firm you have. But if you tell them you will help them and you connect with them and you are trustworthy and honest with them and really do what you say you will do for them, they don't care how big your law firm is or how much money your law firm is spending. So all I'm trying to do is when I retarget people, I'm just saying to people, hey, if you have time now, we're ready to help you. That's all. It's all about just getting their attention one more time, come back. Maybe you get a 3% that comes back. That's 3 more leads to the 2 leads you already got from that 100, right? That's all I'm trying to do is awareness to, hey, you had this problem. You told us about it when you come to our website and visited and searched about a personal injury. Let me just give you a reminder with this retargeting that you came to our website. We can help you. Come on back. That's all it is.
Yeah, I love that. And I heard a study or a statistic somewhere where people had to see a business 7 times before they make a decision. I don't know the exact
Mm-hmm.
phrasing there, but that kind of reinforces what you're saying. One thing that I had always wondered, and I'd like to kind of hear your thoughts on this is, and I was listening to your interview with Bill Hauser over SMB team, and you're talking about creating an avatar on torts. But I had always wondered, how do you create a strategy around trying to help individuals who've been in a car wreck or a motorcycle accident, because the age range the demographics all different, and uh
That's why Facebook is not a good play as the first contact, right? Because Facebook is always too late because the personal injury attorney's advertisement on TV has told everybody that if you're in a car wreck, you got a lotto ticket and it's sitting in your pocket, and all you have to do is go to Google and find your lawyer to cash it in. That's what people has been conditioned for, right? So it's very hard to get them on Facebook before they make that Google search for their lawyer. So Facebook is really only a play for retargeting, or if you want to go very specific for very specific personal injuries, you can target stuff that people don't know they can sue for. Let me give you a good example. I'm in Orlando, Florida. We have all these trampoline parks in Orlando, Florida, where we take our kids and they jump and have fun for an hour. We sign a disclaimer going in saying, hey, we won't sue if our kid breaks their legs. Well, guess what? There was 1,000 broken legs in 2019 in Florida from these trampoline parks. And guess what? They have commercial insurance behind it. So all these people going looking for trucks and tractor trailer trucks with commercial insurance, go get all the trampoline cases, because that signature don't hold up for a minor. You can't sign a waiver right for a minor, and you certainly cannot sign a waiver right for neglect on the part of the trampoline park for not placing the mats correctly. Those particular things you can use Facebook for because it's a discovery tool for people to discover they can in fact sue because my little daughter broke her legs. And a broken legs of 6 months of recovery and walking and all this stuff, it adds up, and it's good cases that comes from trampoline parks. So in that situation, you could use Facebook, but in the typical car wreck, it's not stable. It's not $100 a lead all day long. You can get as many as you want. I can do that with math tort, right? But I can't do it with personal injury. Like you said, I can go out for pizza at 7 o'clock and get creamed by a truck, and there's nothing that goes before it. There might be something going after it, but nothing before. So it's very hard to target the before action.
I love all of that. And I think all the personal injury attorneys listening are probably writing trampoline accidents blogs now.
They should.
Yeah. And so I wanted to bring up something specifically because I heard just to highlight your experience and the number of campaigns you're running. And we had the Boy Scout cases. There were like 90,000 signups. And correct me if I'm wrong, that your company signed up as a part of your clientele over 10,000 of those.
15,000 Boy Scouts we signed. We signed over 20,000 Roundup cases just coming from Facebook.
That's incredible. And
I'll give you a more incredible number. If you remember last year, we had the Purdue bankruptcy, which was the Purdue opioid that went bankrupt.
mm-hmm.
We did an underground campaign with just a select few lawyers that was part of it. And then we blocked off with a negative audience all the other lawyers. And I have 80,000 lawyers in my database, so lawyers didn't see what we were doing. We signed up 68,000 Purdue opioid victims in 3 months, and we got them $750 million. That will be news in 2 weeks.
Wow, that is incredible. Thank you for sharing this. And let's talk about some of the DIY, right? Let's talk about an attorney, because I know you have your book, the Facebook or is it the Facebook Effect for Lawyers? Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you wrote it specifically to help them get started. So tell me a little bit about your book and basically what it covers. And
so it is made for, again, my mission is not to make money off lawyers. My mission is to help as many people as possible that needs help, right? And how they get help is from a lawyer. So I wrote this book about Facebook, about if you are a lawyer, this is the way to use Facebook. This is the how to use Facebook for lawyers. It is simply written so they can go out and do what my company is doing, but I want them to do it locally. I want them to do it themselves. I might have an advantage when we do big cases like Roundup or Boy Scouts because of the data that I have to target with, but they can do small campaigns in their local communities on Facebook, get local clients, local branding if that's what they're after. And that book is written specifically for lawyers to learn about how to do Facebook advertising.
I love that. So I myself too, I'm a little bit green on the Facebook advertising. So I'm probably going to pick up the book myself, and for the audience listening, we'll link it up in the show notes. And let's talk investment. At some point when it comes to Google Ads, you have to have enough data, enough numbers to make optimizations, right? So you don't want to go in too light because you'll never get enough data to make those decisions. If someone's looking, let's take an example. Let's take right now, I think Zantac, for example. Many individuals are looking for Zantac cases. What's the minimum someone should be looking at to invest into Facebook advertising for an area like this?
So that's the beauty about Facebook and how I set up my company, right? You can literally come in with as little as you want. And I'm talking, you can spend $50 a day if that's what you want. We have no contracts because I think that's bullshit. We have only one thing on our invoice that says any money not spent on Facebook, fully refundable at any time for any reason. Again, going back to my mission, all I'm trying to do is help as many people as possible, right? So what we try and do is say this, hey, all those people, and attorneys ask me all the time, hey, what are people spending? Because I want to spend more than them. Well, that's not how it works. How it works is this, you have a circle, and inside, in the middle of that circle is your core audience. And the less money you spend, the more money will be spent on your core audience. The more money you spend, the more will be spent on the peripheral of your core audience. So I can almost guarantee you that if somebody came with $100 and another guy came with $1,000, the guy that came with $100 will get a cheaper lead than the guy that came with $1,000. However, he will not get volume, of course, right? So that's another play. But even if you have little money to spend in Facebook, it's not a problem. It's about 25 bucks per 1,000 views in Facebook. And right now, just to give you an idea, because we're talking about Santec cases, so cases come in at about $600 to $800 today, signed up. So that is between $40 and $50 per lead for cancer cases.
Yeah,
But it's just it's a misunderstanding, this thing, at least on Facebook, and I don't know Google as well, but on Facebook, the less you spend, the cheaper it is.
Yeah, so I want to read a stat, and that's, by the way, that's amazing cost per acquisition numbers. And so during 2018, I was reading a quote from your LinkedIn. It said during 2018, you ran 4,000 ad campaigns and 100,000 different ads for your clients, reaching over $11 million in Facebook advertising spend. So I would say that there's some validity into what you're saying in terms of the cost per acquisition and just getting started with those budgets.
Yeah. So the other thing that we use over here that is really the key to our success is something I developed very early in 16 called the feedback loop. So the reason we run so many ads is to see what is working. So all the way down to what is called the ad ID, which is the actual ad running, we get feedback from the intake. Is this a good lead, a bad lead? Did it get signed up? And all of a sudden, we now have a cost per case on each ad. So this way we can optimize, like the most expensive ads gets turned off, the cheapest ad keep running. And this way we optimize how do we help the most people with the least amount of money. So that's something we established very early. Now, also to say, if you were to come in with $100 a day on Santec, you would still take advantage of the 6 million or something I've already spent on Santec. So all that data you would have available for you to run your $100. So we have a very democratic system in here where all the money, all the data goes into a pile, and you can use all that data no matter your budget.
I love that. That's incredible. And that's that would take a tremendous amount of time and spend to replicate to get that data. And you're fortunate to have multiple clients and you can take the winners, so to speak. Let's talk about some of the just general optimization tips. You know, when we're talking about landing pages for SEO, what we do, it's all about long form content and really robust pages that answers all types of intent. You know, what are some of the basic strategies or optimizations when it comes to creating a Facebook landing page?
So on the landing page side, there we have today a questionnaire. So we try to figure out, do they really have a case, right, for the people that come in. So we offer them 3 or 4 easy questions that they have to say yes or no to, right? On the Santec, did you use Santec and how much did you use it? Used it for the last 4 or 5 years. Were you diagnosed with a cancer? Yes. What type of cancer? If those two fit, it goes to the intake, because all of a sudden now we have a human calling these people to qualify them further. But from the landing page, we know they took Zantac, we know they have a qualifying cancer, and now it goes to intake. If they were to answer it in a different way and say, yes, I took Zantac, but I don't have a cancer right now, we would come up with a disqualifier for them saying, hey, we know there's a law firm out there to help you, it's just not us. Thereby saving the lawyers the money that it costs once this goes to intake. Because why would we be calling them if we already know they don't qualify, right? So it's all about funnel and saving money and try and get the cases as qualified as possible before it goes to intake.
I love all that. I can imagine that you probably had some experience where maybe you didn't filter and you just drove way too many leads, and then the good leads weren't getting the attention that they needed. And then also, I guess many personal injury law firms work with third party, intake teams where they have these costs associated. It was that kind of your experience and why you had to qualify, or is it more about getting the list right for like a lookalike audience or something?
It's all about, well, so that goes in a different place. We can talk about that also, but it's all about you help the people that really need the help. The rest of it is just noise, right? Let's sort out the people that need the help, that has the cancer because they took Zantac, and then all the noise, let's take that away and concentrate on the people that really need help. It was more about that. To your question about the pixel, that's much more complicated task, but Facebook works like this. The more people that goes through and qualify and actually gets hit with a lead pixel, meaning they have gone all the way through, goes back to Facebook's algorithm, and Facebook goes like, oh wow, this was a good lead, well, I can find you more of those types of people with this type of cancer. So that goes towards qualifying your audience that it's going to show to next year. So it's all big data, right? So the more data you feed Facebook, the better it gets, what you get out of it.
That's incredible. And yeah, that makes sense, right? Because they make a percentage off of it too. So they want you to make money.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's just talk about just some other basic optimizations. Let's talk about ad copy. I've seen on my feed on Facebook, I get hit with a lot of Facebook ads, and I'll see sometimes it's the short ad copy. Maybe it's, a little bit of text, and then it's the ad. And then I see these long form types of posts. You know, for someone that has a lot of intent and you're targeting the right audience, is it more a shorter, quick to the point type of ad copy?
You got to stop them in their thumb, right? In their feed, like as they go through their feed. You got to stop them, which is color, right? Red, yellow, green, right? So it's a color to stop them, or maybe something moving like a GIF or a little video that talks about something that are interesting for them, right? But the main thing with the ad is discovery. They have to discover something they didn't know. I didn't know that by taking Zantac, I put myself at risk for getting cancer. If you are the law firm that tells a client that, they don't care if you live in Bumblefuck, wherever. They will call you and go like, what do you mean? I've been taking Zantac for 20 years and now I have breast cancer. Is that really related? I thought it was my body that did this to me, but now you're telling me it's a product that I took, and then they get mad. I mean, it's that simple, and it doesn't really matter. And I've done the test. A law firm page with a no-name lawyer versus a law firm page with a Morgan and Morgan, Levin Papantonio, a very well-known law firm, does not matter. For the conversion rate, does not matter for the sign-up rate. People just want somebody to help them with what they just discovered to be the truth.
Wow, that's incredible. And yeah, those are certainly some firms that are highly involved, in mass torts, and that's nice to hear from a smaller law firm perspective wanting to enter the game. And that's one of the questions that I wanted to ask too. And you kind of transition to that is, Google Ads, it's auction based, and motor vehicle accidents are 300 to 600 a click if you're going for those bottom of the funnel in some locations, because you get in these wars, these bidding wars. Have you seen, since you've been doing Facebook advertising for a while now, I'd imagine, of course, that it is more expensive than when you started, but are the numbers, or the cost per acquisition numbers still increasing substantially, or do you think even at this time it's still in early adoption?
I would say the changes over the last 4 years, 5 years, when I've been doing this, has more been on the targeting side. There was times where we could target all the cancers, many drugs we could target, right? So it's more on the targeting side. We have then learned that you can actually put up an ad on Facebook with no targeting other than demographic, meaning I want a man or a woman, and that man or woman is between the age of 45 to 55, let's say, but no interest targeting, no lookalike targeting, and let the pixel or the ad engine of Facebook figure out who is the ideal person to show this ad to. And it works very well. And it's the cheapest way you can advertise. So what they do is they show it to 1,000 people, and they find out of those 1,000 people, 20 people actually stopped, read it, maybe clicked on the landing page. Okay, so now they have a start of what we would call a lookalike audience for that ad. So then with the next 1,000, they will get up to 50 people that engage, and then so on and so on, to get a more and more targeted audience. So Facebook can actually target the ads for you. Not many people understand that, but it can happen, and it's the cheapest way to do it.
That's incredible. I One of my peers was who's doing our Facebook ads was telling me about this, and now what you're saying, it makes sense,
Mhm.
because Facebook wants to serve the ad to the people that are taking action, and they want a good experience on Facebook. So the people that aren't, they don't want their
No,
their feed flooded.
yeah, no, it works both ways, right? It works for Facebook and it works for the Facebook advertiser, right? That we only get the ads that we are interested in, which was the whole model for Facebook to begin with, right? Is get targeted ads.
That makes sense. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And I want to transition over to a personal. I read an interesting article about you and your wife in Inc. magazine that described your ambitions to use Facebook ads for the greater good. Can you just tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so in 2019, I guess. Well, it came out in 2020, but in 2019 we were on the Inc. 500 list as the 169, 59 something fastest growing company. I think in Florida we are number 16 fastest growing company. So we had a 2,400 percentage growth year over year in that period. They measure a 3-year period. Um, so it was good promotion for us, and we got to tell our story about helping people, and maybe more younger entrepreneurs will get the idea, because remember, I'm no saint, right? I did the whole thing until I got in my mid 30s, where I was just chasing, how can I do business? How can I make some money doing that business? And how can I sell these people? And that's a thing that it's almost like a wrong turn when you go down the road of life, right? So maybe to get more people to understand that by helping others, you actually help yourself in the long run. But it's hard to see when you sit with nothing and you just start off. But I have seen it and how it works, and it does work like that. It's just to understand it and be okay with it happening. And that was the reason for the article, was trying to maybe influence a bit of people that, helping others is actually a business, you know?
That's incredible. And I think there's a lot of self awareness there. I think that many of us, including myself, struggle with that. Like, what am I about? What's my mission? Who am I? You know, those questions. I think every financial advisor is like, well, where do you want to be? Where, who are you? And I think when you really understand yourself, you can create something powerful. You can get a lot of people rowing in the same direction.
Yeah. I have a famous saying that I like to see the baby grow up before I monetize it. So that's what I do with the things I do now. You know, I just put out a product that gives value. And then when I see it run for a bit, for a year, for 2 years, then we can always figure out how we monetize it. But first, bring that value. And once you bring that value and you become a household name, so to speak, then monetizing it just comes. It becomes very easy. But first you gotta attract an audience, right? Who want to listen to you, and have you brought enough value that what you brought to them, now they want to listen to you, right? You can't just ask somebody to listen to you because what's in it for them? That's how they think, right? But if you bring enough value, then all of a sudden they're like, well, what is he saying now? What should we be doing? It's like that.
That's
It's
incredible.
interesting how the world works when you get a little older. I'm 50 now, right? So now I get these things. When I was 30, I didn't get it. So it's
Yep.
interesting.
Yeah, that's incredible. And Jacob, we're coming to a close, and I have a special announcement that you shared with me after our 3 for 3. But I want to do a quick 3 for 3, just a quick hitter questions. Which habit contributes the most to your success?
Hard work makes you luckier. So the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Love
I
that.
can tell. I can tell you that.
Which entrepreneur do you admire the most?
Elon Musk.
That's a very
Just be,
common one.
just because he is so out of the box thinker, and I like how he doesn't take the status quo as a this is how we do it. No, this is how they did it back then. Now let me show you how it should be done. And I'm a very firm believer in black and white, that there's only one right way to do it. And it's not necessarily how you do it today, but it is there. You just got to find it by testing.
That's very powerful. And a final question for our 3 for 3. Which one business book has changed your life or career the most?
Ford. I read his biography when I was very young, to understand the assembly line and how you, by making it into a funnel, you can all of a sudden optimize stuff in a whole different fashion. And that was a powerful book to me, where he went from nothing to an assembly line to all of a sudden Ford being a household name, right? So yeah, but I read that when I was 23 or something. But that was powerful.
I just was fortunate enough to read that about a month ago. So
Okay, good. So you know what I'm
amazing book.
talking about.
Yeah. So many things I didn't know about how he encouraged individuals to be better human beings. And I really appreciated that, hearing that side of him. Because most, a lot of it, the assembly line, of course, was groundbreaking, but I like the other aspects too.
And the part about him weighing up the invoices to figure out what the price was for the car. Um, in my woodworking business, they could say by the weight of a machine how much it should cost. It's very funny how these things just work, math,
Hmm.
right? But it's a very interesting book, I thought.
Absolutely. And so we kind of have a first look here, or a first announcement, and you have a book coming out. It's A Lawyer's Guide to Mass Torts: Establish Your Legacy. You've got chapters by Mike Papantonio, Brent Kuhn, Ann Andrews, Rich Newsom, Darren Miller, Sharon Booth, Scott Blackburn, David Potter, Jarrett Prusen, Jay Jackson, Jason Hennessy. Tell us a little bit about this book. I believe it's launching in April.
Yes, it should be done in April. It's in print. They're getting into print now. In April, you can get it on Amazon, of course. But the idea is this: if I if my mission again is to help as many people as possible, we have about 5,000 mass tort lawyers in the field today. But if I have to help more people, I got to get more mass tort lawyers in. Mass tort is a space for personal injury lawyers that they know about, but they don't quite understand how easy it is to get in and what to do in this field. So this book, I kind of call it the Bible of mass tort. It tells you about how it all works, how you can be part of it. Here's the vendors that you can use for different things you might need. There's an intake vendor, there's a SEO vendor, and so on and so forth. But it gives them a roadmap again to join our industry in mass tort, again, to help as many people as possible. So that's why the book was written.
Yeah, I think so many people have wanted to get into mass torts and they don't really know where to start. So I'd imagine your book would be perfect for that. And to our audience listening, we'll link up the book when it becomes available. We'll have a link to the direct listing on Amazon. And thank you for sharing the announcement with our audience. And Jacob, it's been such a pleasure. Where can people go to learn more about you?
Oh, normally people just call me. I'm a big fan of, hey, if you need me, you just give me a call. I'll put my cell phone number out there, and you just call me or text me and go like, hey, you got time? Now with the Zoom, you're on a Zoom call every hour, but it's still getting time for the little guy, for the big guy. I mean, don't matter. I mean, sometimes people just want to get an idea of what's going on, what's hot, what do I know. Remember, I talk to probably 10, 20 law firms every single day about new projects, old projects, what's settled here, what's settled there. So I have a wealth of knowledge to share with people that want to get involved in mass tort. And I'll be happy to provide you with my cell number and my email, and just reach out and get on the phone with me and I'll tell you what's going on.
That's awesome, Jacob. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.